A gunman opened fire inside a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper on Monday, killing 4 people before fatally shooting himself. That's according to New York City officials, who said the victims included 3 civilians, as well as 36-year-old New York Police Department officer Didarul Islam, who had been on the force for 3.5 years. New York Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said police had identified the suspect, who was believed to have acted alone, as 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Las Vegas.
According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamura has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why he targeted this particular location.
Tisch said surveillance video showed a man exiting a double-parked vehicle on Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Street carrying an M4 rifle. He then enters a skyscraper at 345 Park Avenue, and security camera footage from the building shows him shooting several people in the lobby, including the NYPD officer, before calling an elevator. Tisch said a woman then exited the elevator, and the shooter allowed her to pass unharmed. He then goes up to the 33rd floor, where he fires more rounds and kills another person, before shooting himself in the chest. A CNN report which cited officials said preliminary checks on the suspect's background did not show a significant criminal history. 345 Park Avenue houses offices of a number of financial institutions, including Blackstone and KPMG, along with the NFL headquarters.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Levin. Puppy Levin is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services, along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell-focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years' experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Ray and Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services, from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night's stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
U.S. stocks ended mixed on Monday as the Dow dipped fractionally. The S&P 500, while essentially flat, marked its sixth straight record close, and the Nasdaq gained 0.33% to also close at a record high. Trading was choppy on Wall Street as investors digested President Donald Trump's trade deal with the European Union, which includes a 15% import tariff on most EU goods, half of Trump's previously threatened rate of 30%. Marianne Bartels, chief investment strategist at Sanctuary Wealth, said that while markets have mostly put the tariff turmoil behind them, stocks could pull back before they climb even higher.
Markets are extremely overbought. We're coming down to the month at the end of July. July seasonally is very strong. Believe it or not, August is when markets peak. I think we're setting up for a correction within the markets. Nothing significant, but we could easily get a 5 to 10% pullback, refresh this market, particularly in the seasonal period of September and October for a year-end rally.
Among individual movers, shares of Nike climbed nearly 4% after J.P. Morgan upgraded the stock to overweight from neutral and said investors should, quote, just buy it. U.S.-listed shares of Heineken fell nearly 10% as a forecast-beating profit rise was eclipsed by investor worries over second-half profits and volumes, which Heineken warned may be softer due to tariffs. And shares of Cadence Design Systems climbed more than 6% in extended trading after the chip design software provider raised its sales forecast for the year. The week is packed with potentially market-moving events, including the Federal Reserve's latest policy decision and the Personal Consumption Expenditures Report, the Fed's preferred gauge of inflation. And set to be released on Friday is the closely watched jobs report for July. Also on deck this week are a slew of corporate earnings, including from tech giants Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast for northwest Pennsylvania on this Tuesday morning. Sunshine and clouds mixed, continued hot and humid. Yeah, it's warm. Low 90s for a high today. Mainly clear skies tonight with lows in the mid-60s. Wednesday, partly cloudy, upper 80s. Thursday, a few showers and temperatures around 70 as things cool off to end the month. And we start August 1st on Friday with partly cloudy skies and temperatures in the mid-70s. Saturday, sunshine and upper 70s for a high. Meadville at 70 degrees. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh at 68. Titusville, 67. Franklin this morning, 68. Oil City, 69 degrees here at 710. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
It's a good morning and the sun is shining bright. The Morning Drill is on the air, so hold on tight. Good morning to you.
I'm not sure about the sunshine part here this morning. A bit cloudy, but going to be another warm day today. So if you're a fan of all this heat, today's another day for you. If you're not, like poor little Amy over there who's struggling mightily.
I'm melting.
Yeah, got another couple days of this. So today 91, upper 80s tomorrow. And then Thursday, Aim. Thursday, mark that down on your calendar. Which, by the way, I have to say, this may be a record. You presented me with the August calendar yesterday.
I did.
With all the things going on with our kids and sports and all of that. So, yeah. I've talked to several other people. There's like a little Amy spreadsheet fan club out there.
That's great.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I got a snapshot of what you go through. I've seen Amy.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've seen Amy with her spreadsheets.
Sorry.
Yeah, she's, yeah. But I have to say, it's rubbed off on some people because I know, like, a couple times of the year you present spreadsheets to me. Mm-hmm. This time of year for sports and just keeping everybody on the same page so we know what's going on. And listen, I make fun of you, but it is nice to be able to pick it up and say, oh, yeah, this is going on today. Oh, yeah, that last kid of ours has a game today.
Last kid of ours?
Yeah, so it's nice to see that. But the other time of the year where you have multiple spreadsheets or updates is at Christmas. Mm-hmm. And then there's somebody I know that, and you know, obviously, that has sort of integrated spreadsheets into their Christmas traditions as well. So
it keeps it balanced.
Okay.
Equal amounts, equal amount of money.
Well,
child.
You know what it doesn't do? It still doesn't stop me from asking you, where are we with this, or what do we need to do, or where do we need to pick? And you're like, I gave you a spreadsheet, dear. Why don't you check out your spreadsheet? And I'm like, that's right, you did. And it's buried under papers on my desk.
Let me email it to you.
Yeah. Again. So, the queen of the spreadsheets.
Something like that.
But it's very nice. The
Thanks.
only thing, and maybe I didn't really look at it yesterday, is it color coded? Oh, it is. How did you? What did you do there? Like with my stuff versus our son's stuff versus your stuff?
Red means work. Okay. Blue means. You really want me to?
I will. I'll either forget or not care.
Okay,
so,
great.
But you can do whatever.
It is color coded.
All right. So red is work. Blue is
music. No, blue is soccer. Sorry. Purple is music. Brown is football. Black is regular, like, appointments.
Okay. Listen, speaking of football, I know football gets most of the attention here. Mm-hmm. But we are really excited not only to be covering football in a few weeks, but the other sports, boys and girls soccer. We've got, I think, golf on the schedule at the end of August. Volleyball, cross country. So yeah, there's a lot on the plate. I'm looking forward to getting back in the swing of things. So you're not?
I am.
Or do you want it like another month?
I am. No. No, I'm in it now. Like, there's no going back.
This is Amy's season right here. This is where Amy is at her peak, at her best.
I would not say that.
Yes, because
mentally, no, I'm not.
This is your element right here. Even when you're the most stressed, this is it. Because you can cheer. You're doing things. You're in charge of things. Tennis really threw you off in the spring because
I couldn't cheer.
You weren't familiar with the sport, or how the proceedings took place. But I noticed that was a little bit of a struggle for you.
It was.
Loud Amy couldn't come out.
I couldn't be myself.
No. So this is the return to glory here, as Jim Nance would announce.
That's great.
A return to glory.
Awesome.
Tiger Woods. All right, but anyways, so yeah.
I'm ready. No, we're in the thick of it. There's no going back.
I know.
Spreadsheets are created. Things are organized. We're good.
And this is just...
What?
Not that I've talked to every single person around, because I haven't.
Okay.
There's a lot of excitement to kind of get back in the swing of things. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what it was. This has just kind of been an off summer.
I feel like it has. Yeah. I think it started out, rainy and cold.
Yeah, June was...
It's hot and dry now. It's like just hot. And even the summer lovers are like so hot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people. In fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday, a client, and he's just like, I can't. He goes, I'm not even going to tell you mine, but what's your favorite time of the year? I said fall. It's like blue jean sweatshirts.
Yep.
And he's like, okay, I'm the exact same. And I'm like, really? I didn't, because he's the guy that is spending vacation time in a camper somewhere. He enjoys. And not that you can't do that in the fall. Fall's beautiful time to do that, but. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm ready.
Get me out.
So I don't know, but the cooler temperatures are heading our way, and that doesn't mean like we're done with some heat. So if you enjoy some heat, it's not over. In fact, if you look at next week, it's back into the low to mid 80s. So. I'm just looking, if you're looking at this weekend, you've got Thunder in the City in Meadville. You got the Pleasantville Festival this weekend. It looks like it's going to be super nice for these events.
Perfect.
The following week, not so much. And, of course, you got Titusville's Oil Festival. You got the Venango County Fair starting this weekend. So, actually, halfway through next week, it looks pretty decent. So, and again... It's going to change when we get closer to those dates, but at least the next 5 to 10 days is looking pretty good. All right, we've got birthdays, what we're celebrating. We're going to do that here in a little bit. It's a Tuesday, which means Joe Tech will be joining us. We got Pastor Drew Myers joining us from the Titusville Methodist Church. We're going to get a chance to meet Drew coming up later this morning. So. Yeah, looking forward to that. Tomorrow, oh boy, jam-packed. Krista Lundy from the Meadville Chamber. Susan Williams from the Venango Chamber. And she'll give us a little wrap-up of how Oil Heritage Festival went. Also, our friends from ERA Richmond Real Estate will be with us tomorrow. Awesome. We'll learn about how the summer's been for the real estate market and what people are looking at, where they're coming from. Maybe they're downsizing. Maybe they're growing. It's all fascinating. I love talking real estate. around here. And one of the things that continues to be popular, camps and people looking for plots of land, right? So, yeah. We were talking about that last night. We went for a quick little ride, and we took some back roads. And you're like, oh, that's a kind of a unique looking house, cabin-esque type of a place. And
it was it was cool. It was never mind. I'm not going to explain it. It's like a mishmash of different shapes.
Yeah.
And then off to the side, like a little woodshed and a little greenhouse, and it was just my organizational brain was a little bit overwhelmed, but it was really cool.
Well, but this guy, you had one of those days yesterday. It was a Monday for you, and it was like, all right, I just want to live in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Where nobody. But I think there's a lot of people that kind of want that. Mm-hmm. They don't want to necessarily, be away from work or whatever, but they want to live outside, have some land, and be able to escape to a place that they can spend time outside and do things. So, anyways, tomorrow, ERA Richmond Real Estate will be with us.
They'll find that place for you.
They'll
me. Find your getaway.
Away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're happily ever after.
There you go. Hey, bottom of the hour, we'll recap the latest headlines if you're just joining us here this morning. And we were watching some news out of New York City last night with a gunman. If you've ever been to New York City, there's just so many people. Everybody sort of pays attention to themselves, right?
Yeah.
And you're on your phone, you're doing things, but apparently this guy with a gun just walked into a building and nobody
walked through
really...
a courtyard like nothing.
Yeah.
Not even a gun, not just like a gun, like a big gun.
And if you hear that and you think, oh my gosh, that's so weird, and you've never been to New York City, it's probably not making sense. If you've been to New York City, you go, yeah, you can see that.
I can see it, yeah. It's not like small town where we walk past each other and say hi.
Right.
You avoid eye contact or any contact.
Well, everybody, again, it's like you were telling me when we went to, what do you do, Pilates or something?
Yeah.
Years ago. You're like, nobody's going to be looking at it. Everybody's paying attention to themselves. When they work out, nobody's looking around.
Yeah, nobody wants to pay attention to whatever. So, yeah.
And that's, I don't know. So it's not weird for somebody to just do that,
to be unnoticed in such a big city.
Yeah. And one of the people on that they were interviewing actually said, if you're walking around New York City and you look like you know what you're doing or you look confident, nobody questions it.
Right.
It's when you're nervous and kind of acting weird that
people pay attention.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll have the latest on that New York City shooting coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We'll let you know what's going on with the markets. Bill Maher. This is a big news headline from over the weekend and yesterday, saying I was wrong about Trump. The tariff situations, he's negotiating well. The markets haven't crashed. No recession yet, so
that's huge.
Yeah. And so, anyways, we've got some things, obviously, with the EU and some trade deals there, some stuff with China and tariffs and kind of a truce there for now. So we'll have all of that coming up here at the 7:30 news. So let's get to birthdays and what we're celebrating. One of the birthdays I think we missed yesterday was the voice of Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen, celebrating his 83rd birthday. Also the voice of Eeyore. Mm-hmm. I guess.
Are you ready for today, though? Can we move on to today?
Now, go ahead.
Filmmaker Ken Burns is 72 today.
I think I just saw an interview with him this morning, like a little clip of Ken Burns talking about America, and it was actually quite interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Rocker Geddy Lee is 72. Sayo guru Tim Gunn is 72. Country singer Martina McBride is 59.
Yeah, she's a happy girl, right?
Sure. Actor Will Wheaton is 53. Actor Stephen Dorff is 52. And actor Josh Radnor is 51.
All right. Happy birthday to them, and happy birthday to you if today happens to be your birthday from all of us here today. Hope it's a great day. If it's not your birthday, I hope it's a great day for you. We're going to change gears now and find out what it is we're celebrating. Everybody can take part in this.
Yes. It is Cheese Sacrifice Purchase Day. No idea what that
don't
means.
buy cheese?
I don't know what that means.
I ordered something yesterday without cheese on it, and they kindly gave me the item with cheese. So
Kindly. International Tiger Day. National Challenge Champions and Heroes Awareness Day. National Get Gnarly Day. National Lasagna Day.
We haven't had that in a while.
I know. Oh. It's National Lipstick Day, but it's also National Wing Day.
Wing Day.
Mm-hmm.
I should have brought leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
We got wings, Saturday night?
Yeah. Rain Day. And that's it. Yep. You're like,
Wings? Lunch. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I keep waiting because I think one of the kids are going to eat the wings. And they
I would text them and say, hey, you have until today to eat those. If not, I'm taking them tomorrow.
Yeah, just don't. Because we've wasted some wings in the past.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a terrible thing.
It is.
Like I'm crying. I'm dumping them in the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 2 weeks old. This is horrible. This is not professional at all. Sometimes it's like a college dorm situation up here. I think. No, I don't think.
Here's the thing. I get angry, and I'm like, I'm not cleaning it because it's not mine. And then I end up cleaning it out.
Not all the time. I will step up to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
There is a crock pot that's been in this one fridge.
That I'm not touching.
I know. It has been in this one fridge since Easter. Is that when we had the barbecue turkey?
Or before. No, it was before.
Before Easter? I thought it was when your family, like we had everybody over for Easter.
Mm-mm. I don't know. I think it was before.
No, I think we had it for Easter. No, maybe you're right. Anyways, it's still sitting in there. And every time I open the fridge, which is almost every day, I'm like, I should probably clean that out.
Yeah, because you can't fit anything else. There's like, a case of water, a case of lemonade on the floor that you can't fit in the fridge because the crock pot's there.
Yeah, but you can take bottles out and place them in the fridge. So I will. It's gone past that stage where it kind of smells to like it doesn't smell anymore. So it's either petrified. Did I ever tell you that story in high school?
Know.
High school?
Probably.
Like beginning of the school year, I took a banana.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow it got lost in my locker.
Oh, God.
The last day of school, I'm cleaning things out. No joke. It was a petrified from the first day of school or first couple days of school. I mean, it was like a rock. You couldn't break it. It was, oh, yeah. Oh, people were like, oh, that is so cool. I had no idea it was in there.
It's not cool.
It's not.
It's gross.
It's not. But yes, I do need to clean that out. I will work on that. We were talking about this last night, how exciting it is to kind of think about the fall season, because one of our favorites is crock pot Sundays, because we're out doing sports related stuff on Sundays, and it's nice to come home, walk in the house, and you smell whatever's in the crock pot. So we were just tossing
We leave
out.
our house at like 8:30, get home at like 5:30, 6.
Yeah. And we have our two kids from college that come over for dinner, and it's just nice. So crockpot Sundays are coming. Anyways, you're going to need that crockpot.
I am.
Before that time. So I'm going to have to. So what I'm saying to you is within the next 2 months, I will clean that out.
You'll have my crockpot back?
Yeah.
So nice of you.
Thank you. See, and people think I'm not caring or thoughtful. I got this.
See the twitch in my eye?
Yeah. All right, we're coming up on 7:30. We'll bring you the latest headlines here this morning, get you caught up with everything going on in the world, on Wall Street. We'll have that weather forecast for you. That's all heading your way. Another hot one in store for you today. We are looking at sunshine and clouds mixed, continued hot and humid Temperatures in the low 90s. We got Joe Tech, Pastor Drew Myers today.
Waking up with the morning drill. Waking up with the morning drill.
A gunman opened fire inside a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper on Monday, killing 4 people before fatally shooting himself. That's according to New York City officials, who said the victims included 3 civilians, as well as 36-year-old New York Police Department officer Didarul Islam, who had been on the force for 3.5 years. New York Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said police had identified the suspect, who was believed to have acted alone, as 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Las Vegas.
According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamura has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why he targeted this particular location.
Tisch said surveillance video showed a man exiting a double-parked vehicle on Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Street carrying an M4 rifle. He then enters a skyscraper at 345 Park Avenue, and security camera footage from the building shows him shooting several people in the lobby, including the NYPD officer, before calling an elevator. Tisch said a woman then exited the elevator, and the shooter allowed her to pass unharmed. He then goes up to the 33rd floor, where he fires more rounds and kills another person, before shooting himself in the chest. A CNN report which cited officials said preliminary checks on the suspect's background did not show a significant criminal history. 345 Park Avenue houses offices of a number of financial institutions, including Blackstone and KPMG, along with the NFL headquarters.
Swooping in to save you over $11,000 off your next Chevy truck. It's Community Chevrolet's newest mascot, Independence Dog.
Getting you approved by day, fighting crime by night.
With Independence Day savings running all month long, you can save more than $11,000 off MSRP on a new Silverado, or save nearly $3,000 on hot new SUVs like the Trailblazer and the Equinox. Follow Independence Dog to explosive savings this month at Community Chevy.
Interstate Pipe and Supply takes pride in providing superior customer service. That's why our dedicated employees are well trained and have the experience to offer friendly, quick, and reliable service and support. Need materials delivered to your job site? No problem. Interstate offers fast delivery from our 4 locations in Western Pennsylvania. We also serve Eastern Ohio, Northern Western Virginia, and Western New York. Service means business at Western Pennsylvania's premier pipe and supply company, Interstate Pipe and Supply.
Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning provides residential and light commercial air conditioning services throughout the area. They understand the importance of your cooling system working properly. That is why you can trust in Vanderhoof to do the job right. Whether it's a non-working air conditioner, yearly maintenance, or a new install, you can be assured that we will solve your problem quickly and efficiently. Your home's air conditioning system is far more than just temperature. It's a complete comfort system that combines temperature, humidity, air quality, and above all, safety. Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning in Titusville.
Looking for expert orthopedic care? Dr. Charlie Gates, a trusted name at Titusville Area Hospital, can help you regain mobility and a better quality of life. With years of experience and a passion for personalized care, Dr. Gates specializes in treating a wide range of orthopedic conditions. Whether it's joint pain, sports injuries, or orthopedic surgery, trust Dr. Charlie Gates at Titusville Area Hospital for your orthopedic care. Call 814-827-9770 today to schedule your appointment.
Welcome to Inspire Med Spa, the place you know and love for massages, Botox, laser resurfacing, and semi-permanent makeup. Now we're offering even more, including laser hair removal, tattoo removal, and hair rejuvenation. Our team is here to provide expert care in a peaceful, luxurious environment designed with your relaxation in mind. And with our newly added services, now you can get all your beauty services in one place. Visit Inspire Med Spa today, because you deserve to look and feel your best.
I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us, but try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same. But you have excuses because you're old, so it's okay.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at soundidouttogether.org.
Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding is located at 305 East Spring Street in Titusville. Marsh Home Center welcomes you in to explore their growing inventory of name brand furniture, appliances, and bedding. Need something not currently in stock? No problem. Order from Marsh's online catalog and have it delivered right to your door. Visit Marsh's to see their entire showroom. Ask questions, see what items are on sale, or just stop in and say hi. Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding, behind Giant Eagle in Titusville.
Whether you want to go and lead in your craft in the trades, whether you want to go and be that nurse or medical worker and have a real impact on lives, or whether you want to go and help that business improve its bottom line, this is the place. And now is your time to go with confidence, to go with skill, to go succeed. The Education and Training Center at Pitt Titusville.
Vehicle shopping? Make sure you check out Titusville Ford first. Shop our amazing selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. Visit us on Route 8 in Titusville and see why our customer service is a cut above the rest. Titusville Ford, your hometown dealer.
European governments and companies reacted with both relief and concern on Monday to the EU-US framework trade deal. Some saw it as unbalanced, but were happy it avoided a deeper trade war. The agreement will see the US impose a 15% import tariff on most EU goods. It's half the previously threatened rate, but much more than what Europeans hoped for. Cynthia Alcidi is a senior researcher at the Centre for European Policy Studies.
I think this is a glass half full, half empty. It is half full because there is this sense of relief and that the worst outcome is excluded, where the worst outcome could have been 30% tariffs or even a trade war. On the other side, this is not what the EU wanted. I mean, the EU asked for a zero tariff trade agreement, and this is not what we had.
The 15% baseline tariff is half the threatened number, but compares to an average US import tariff rate of around 2.5% last year. Many of the specifics of the deal were not immediately known. The agreement included an investment pledge above the $550 billion deal signed with Japan last week. Hildegard Müller is president of Germany's auto association, the VDA. She was relieved a deal was struck, but warned industry would still take a hit.
The deal will also burden consumers in the United States. It will not only have consequences for Europe. In the long run, products will become more expensive. I believe that this is why it is not a good day for international trade or for consumers.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz welcomed the deal as it averted a trade war, while French government ministers said the agreement had some merits but wasn't balanced. One leading French minister said more talks would be needed before the deal could be formally concluded.
U.S. stocks ended mixed on Monday as the Dow dipped fractionally. The S&P 500, while essentially flat, marked its sixth straight record close, and the Nasdaq gained 0.33% to also close at a record high. Trading was choppy on Wall Street as investors digested President Donald Trump's trade deal with the European Union, which includes a 15% import tariff on most EU goods, half of Trump's previously threatened rate of 30%. Marianne Bartels, chief investment strategist at Sanctuary Wealth, said that while markets have mostly put the tariff turmoil behind them, stocks could pull back before they climb even higher.
Markets are extremely overbought. We're coming down to the month at the end of July. July seasonally is very strong. Believe it or not, August is when markets peak. I think we're setting up for a correction within the markets. Nothing significant, but we could easily get a 5 to 10% pullback, refresh this market, particularly in the seasonal period of September and October for a year-end rally.
Among individual movers, shares of Nike climbed nearly 4% after J.P. Morgan upgraded the stock to overweight from neutral and said investors should, quote, just buy it. U.S.-listed shares of Heineken fell nearly 10% as a forecast-beating profit rise was eclipsed by investor worries over second-half profits and volumes, which Heineken warned may be softer due to tariffs. And shares of Cadence Design Systems climbed more than 6% in extended trading after the chip design software provider raised its sales forecast for the year. The week is packed with potentially market-moving events, including the Federal Reserve's latest policy decision and the Personal Consumption Expenditures Report, the Fed's preferred gauge of inflation. And set to be released on Friday is the closely watched jobs report for July. Also on deck this week are a slew of corporate earnings, including from tech giants Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple.
This is an important week for the Fed meeting, particularly because we just had this very televised event with President Trump and Chair Jerome Powell. We're not expecting the Fed to do anything with interest rates, and neither is Wall Street. But what they say about future expectations for inflation will really play into how markets behave, both equity markets and the fixed income market. Now, the Fed has said they are expecting inflation to tick up, possibly around up to 3% on core PCE. But we still probably need months of data for the Fed to really have the confidence and the support to be able to lower interest rates. Inflation has been sticky, the economy's been strong, and the jobs numbers have been strong. As long as that data stays strong, the Fed's not going to have the ability to lower rates. So the risk is that we don't get a rate cut in September, and it's possible that we don't even get a rate cut this year. We remain on risk on, full stop. And yes, we may see some risk come off as we enter the seasonal weakness period of September and October, but then we expect another risk on move going into year end. In fact, we even have a target for the first quarter of around 7,200. We think a year end rally will actually be able to carry over into 2026. So for those investors that felt that maybe they missed the rally because it happened happened so fast, we do think that you're going to get another opportunity to gain exposure. I'm really favoring growth stocks, tech related, and I think that leadership stays. Really bullish the semiconductors. Now, they've had a great run here. We could be getting some pullbacks, and I think these would be great buying opportunities. So if you ask me my favorite area, it's absolutely the semiconductors.
Global stocks rose on Monday as markets took in news of a trade agreement between the US and the EU. The move lifted sentiment and helped European shares jump to a 4-month high from the open. Gains were led by auto and pharmaceutical stocks. The framework trade agreement imposes a 15% import tariff on most EU goods. That's half the previously threatened rate, though it will still be seen by many in Europe as too high. It averts a bigger trade war between the two allies that makes up almost a third of global trade. Countries are scrambling to finalise trade deals ahead of an August 1st deadline set by US President Donald Trump. Talks between the US and China are set for Monday in Stockholm. The Pan-European Stock 600 gained around 0.8% in early trade, with most regional bourses also rising, including Germany's DAX and France's CAC 40. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan also posted modest gains following the news, nudging close to the almost 4-year high touched last week. Monday's announcement gave some clarity to investors with a busy week ahead. They'll watch key upcoming policy meetings by the Federal Reserve and the Bank of Japan, as well as other data this week.
US and Chinese negotiators held over 5 hours of trade talks in Stockholm on Monday. The immediate goal is to extend a current truce on tariffs by 3 months. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was among the Washington delegation, while the Beijing team included Vice Premier He Lifeng. China faces an August 12th deadline to reach a deal with Donald Trump's administration. That's after preliminary agreements that ended an escalating tit-for-tat tariff battle. Trump touched on the talks during a news conference with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer in Scotland.
I'd love to see China open up their country.
So far, the talks have not touched on broader economic issues, including the US claim that China is flooding the world with cheap goods. US Trade Representative Jameson Greer said he didn't expect any huge breakthrough. He said the current talks were more about ensuring that existing deals were being honoured. Without an agreement, tariffs could snap back to triple-digit levels, choking off trade between the pair. However, analysts say another 90-day extension of the trade truce looks likely. If so, that could smooth the way for a meeting between Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping in the coming months. But potential flashpoints loom. That includes a bipartisan move by US senators to introduce bills targeting China over its treatment of minority groups, dissidents, and Taiwan.
Luxury giants Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and Dior may have dodged the worst in U.S. President Donald Trump's trade deal with the EU, but a new 15% tariff on European goods threatens to deepen the pressure on an industry already faced with slumping consumer demand and fading pricing power. While the fresh duties are below the hefty 30% tariff that Trump threatened just weeks ago, they're a far cry from the zero-for-zero tariff deal the EU was hoping to clinch. Some high-end labels say they will be able to draw on pricing power to offset the cost of tariffs, but analysts and industry experts warn some players have limited wiggle room after a series of outsized price hikes, which have driven a chunk of the brand's profit growth. Big luxury companies raised prices by 33% on average between 2019 and 2023, according to RBC estimates. The price tag of Chanel's classic quilted flap bag, for instance, more than tripled between 2015 and 2024, while the Lady Dior bag and Louis Vuitton Keep All travel bag more than doubled, according to UBS analysts. Meanwhile, the sector lost 50 million customers last year, according to consulting firm Bain, as economic pressures and price fatigue dampened appetite for designer clothing and handbags. UBS estimates that a 15% tariff will require luxury brands on average to raise prices by around 2% in the U.S. or around 1% globally if they want to avoid widening regional price gaps, or face an impact of around 3% on earnings before interest and tax. Such hikes may prove challenging while the latest round of luxury companies' earnings shows little sign of a rebound.
At his LA coffee shop, John Kinnard says he's generally supportive of President Donald Trump's stance on tariffs as a way to boost domestic manufacturing. But he draws the line at coffee beans. The Trump administration's 50% tariff on Brazilian coffee threatens to upend his business.
We can't grow coffee here. There's only 2 states that can grow coffee, well, 2 places in the U.S. that grows coffee. One of them is our territory, Puerto Rico, and the other is Hawaii.
Americans are addicted to their coffee, but the U.S. coffee industry has long relied on imports, with the country producing only about 1% of the coffee it consumes. Kinnard imports beans from Brazil, which he roasts himself and creates coffee blends for his wholesale customers.
And the reason why Brazilian coffee is so key in our wholesale business is because it's the foundation for most blends, because of its affordability, because of its accessibility, and its consistency is pretty much found in almost every blend you can find out there on the market.
With Brazil producing a third of all coffee used in the U.S., the impact could be far-reaching, affecting everyone from small cafe owners to large coffee chains and ultimately U.S. consumers.
It's going to be harder to find a good business model because a typical coffee shop margin is only about 5%. And so we're fighting to find that profit within that 5%. And now with this, we're going to have to get really creative.
Kinnard and other small business owners are exploring alternative sources, such as Colombia. But the tariffs on Brazilian beans and the search for a replacement may mean consumers either pay more or get an inferior beverage.
Unfortunately, it's just going to be passed on to the consumer, which is what we've been seeing lately, or the businesses are going to have to seek a lower quality grade of coffee.
The US and EU may have agreed a trade deal, but champagne makers aren't breathing a sigh of relief yet. They're waiting to see if the agreement's tariff exemptions will apply to their industry. Champagne Drapier exports about 80,000 bottles to the US each year, 5% of their production. And while the threatened 30% US tariff on EU goods has halved to 15%, winemaker Hugo Drapier still has concerns.
Je pense que 15%, ça sera pour la plupart des personnes, ce sera.
I think 15% will be understandable and acceptable for most people now, but obviously not for all of them.
100%, donc je pense qu'il va y avoir.
So I think there will be risks, a bit of a loss of volume and revenue for both Drapier and others in the Champagne region.
The high-level agreement is set to include tariff exemptions for some agricultural products, still to be hammered out. Industry officials said alcohol could be among them. Appealing to the French government, Drapier said the wine industry was a symbol of France and needed to be treated equally to other sectors.
If France lets the wine sector be sacrificed in favour of other industries, it could affect France's commercial power, attractiveness and image. It's an industry that employs a lot of workers who can't be relocated, precisely because the work is done here. We don't have the option of relocating champagne vines elsewhere in the world.
The deal is seen as bringing clarity for some European makers of cars, planes and chemicals, although the 15% tariff is well above the EU's initial 0 for 0 hopes.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast for northwest Pennsylvania. Sun and mixed clouds today with temperatures in the low 90s. A few clouds tonight with temperatures in the mid-60s. Wednesday, partly cloudy, upper 80s for a high. Things cool off a bit on Thursday with a few rain showers and a high of 70. Friday, 1st of August, partly cloudy, mid-70s. Saturday, sunshine with temperatures in the upper 70s. It's upper 60s right now, low 70s in some spots. Meadville, for example, sitting at 72 degrees. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh at 70, 69 in Titusville, 70 in Franklin, 70 in Oil City. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Happy Tuesday. Glad you're with us here this morning. You heard that story about coffee beans. I know the company that supplies our studio with coffee. We've been sent several emails the last, month or so saying just be on the rise or be on the lookout. There's probably going to be a rise in some prices. So what it is, they don't know. We don't know. We just deal with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, Americans like their coffee. This is what, our 55th cup today.
Yes. Yeah.
Keeps us going. Hey, I saw this headline last night. Kind of devastating. I grew up being a Pirates fan. Andy Van Slyke, my favorite baseball player with the Pirates. My generation. I mean, you can always go back to the greats like Clemente and stuff like that. But growing up, Andy Van Slyke was my favorite player. And in the teams in the late 80s, early 90s, they just were awesome. But another guy that I really liked played for the Cubs, Ryan Sandberg, and he passed away yesterday at the age of 65. So remember the great Ryan Sandberg. I remember watching like the Pirates Cubs, WGN, when they'd be out in Chicago, and I don't know, just Ryan Sandberg just seemed like he was just a cool baseball player. So he has passed away at the age of 65, and one of the titans of the game, Hall of Famer, Chicago Cubs legend, Ryan Sandberg. He was a 10-time All-Star in his career. Passed away Monday after a battle with prostate cancer. It had returned and spread to other organs in his body back in December. So, thoughts with him. Deion Sanders making a big announcement yesterday. He had bladder cancer. Bladder was removed. He did a press conference yesterday. I think some of his doctors were there. And he said, I'm cancer-free right now. I plan to continue to coach. Don't be surprised or disgusted if you see a toilet on the sidelines. Because, I'm like, all right.
Time to retire.
Maybe. I think he said he didn't even tell his kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. Let's see some baseball action from yesterday. The Pirates beat the Giants 6-5. How about that? The problem is the Pirates are picking up some wins, but when you look at the National League Central Division, it's hard for them to get anywhere because you've got Milwaukee or the Cubs doing well. In fact, Milwaukee first place there in the National League Central Division. So Pittsburgh just not gaining any traction there, even though they're winning. Still 18.5 games back behind Milwaukee. Cubs 1 game back. Cincinnati 7.5 games back. St. Louis 9 games. When you look at baseball action for today, you've got at 12:35 this afternoon, Orioles and Blue Jays. They're going to play a doubleheader. Tigers and Diamondbacks at 6:40. Guardians and Rockies tonight at 6:40 in Cleveland. Yankees and Rays. Reds, Dodgers tonight. Twins, Red Sox. Brewers, Cubs. Royals, Braves. White Sox, Phillies. Cardinals, Marlins. Astros, Nationals. Angels have the Rangers in Los Angeles. Padres welcome the Mets in San Diego. Giants continue to take on the Pirates at 9:45. A's and Mariners at 10:05 tonight. So there you go. Have you talked to some folks or anybody squeezing in like last minute summer vacations?
There's a couple.
Is it hitting people like we're coming into August?
I mean, there's a couple that are squeezing in trips quickly before, So if you don't have a child playing sports or in the band for high school, you aren't aware that their mandatory practices are starting soon. So you got to kind of squeeze all that in before that begins for them. But, there are some of those. There are some campers. But,
All right.
I'd like to go north where there's snow for some vacation.
And I can't get you to ski. That's the thing.
I will happily. Listen, I'm not complaining. If you want to go ski right now, go ahead. I'll be right there with you. But not on skis.
If we could get you on skis, then we'll
take some snow angels.
Oh, my gosh. Just try it. Again. All right. Thanks. 90 today for a high. Going to be a warm one. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
A gunman opened fire inside a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper on Monday, killing 4 people before fatally shooting himself. That's according to New York City officials, who said the victims included 3 civilians, as well as 36-year-old New York Police Department officer Didarul Islam, who had been on the force for 3.5 years. New York Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said police had identified the suspect, who was believed to have acted alone, as 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Las Vegas.
According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamura has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why he targeted this particular location.
Tisch said surveillance video showed a man exiting a double-parked vehicle on Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Street carrying an M4 rifle. He then enters a skyscraper at 345 Park Avenue, and security camera footage from the building shows him shooting several people in the lobby, including the NYPD officer, before calling an elevator. Tisch said a woman then exited the elevator, and the shooter allowed her to pass unharmed. He then goes up to the 33rd floor, where he fires more rounds and kills another person, before shooting himself in the chest. A CNN report which cited officials said preliminary checks on the suspect's background did not show a significant criminal history. 345 Park Avenue houses offices of a number of financial institutions, including Blackstone and KPMG, along with the NFL headquarters.
For over 11 years, Triple M Roofing has been providing Amish-quality craftsmanship and work ethic that you can rely on. Pole barns, decks, porches, siding, and almost all roofing needs, Triple M Roofing will get the job done on time without sacrificing quality or the promise to deliver within your budget. Call today for a free estimate, 814-964-0472. Waiting is what you'll do with the other guys. Getting it done is what we do. Amish-owned and operated, we're Triple M Roofing.
Who can solve this equation? Ooh, me. Anyone else? Fine. Jake from State Farm. Again.
Right. It's the personal price plan theorem. If you bundle your home and auto, that can equal an affordable price just for you.
Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Are you tired of juggling multiple pill bottles? Titusville Express Pharmacy has your solution, now offering compliance packaging. Your medication sorted and sealed by dose, making it easier than ever to stay on track. In a hurry? Take advantage of our convenient drive-through service. We also offer free local delivery for those that qualify. Titusville Express Pharmacy, where convenience meets care. Visit us today at 401 West Spring Street in Titusville. Simplify your medication routine with Titusville Express Pharmacy.
Poppy's Equipment and Storage Rental in Pleasantville is committed to providing our customers with exceptional service while offering quality rental equipment. Poppy's is now an authorized steel dealer with everything you need to have for sawing and cutting or mowing to digging. And of course, Poppy's has tents, tables, chairs, heaters, generators, barbecues, and more for your next wedding or get-together. Need firewood or propane? No problem. Whether you're in construction or a weekend warrior, reach out to Poppy's about your next project. Poppy's Place on the Tenesta Road in Pleasantville. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, serving Crawford, Venango, Forest, and Warren counties. Their mission is to provide quality, low-cost, and personal financial products for the growth and security of their members and families. Stop in, call, or visit our website, communityconnectfcu.com, and click Join to get started. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, 1050 East Spring Street in Titusville.
Fat Chad's Brewing is Titusville's premier dining destination, offering fine dining served with a cold beverage and great conversations. Try our new menu items, the T-bone steak, homemade meatloaf dinner, or soft shell crab tacos. Our pasta entries and sandwiches are just as popular. Try the new lobster ravioli, shrimp and scallop pasta, or our popular Asiago chicken. Don't forget about our famous burgers or fish sandwich, all served with fresh cut fries. Come in Saturday nights for Wild Game Saturdays. For good food and good times, it's Fat Chad's Brewing in Titusville.
Titusville Market Square is home to over 100 unique vendors featuring antiques, collectibles, candles, coins, baked goods, dairy products, food items, comic books, toys, and so much more. You'll discover something new every time you walk through the door. Did we mention the selection of baked goods, breads, Clark's Donuts, and Amish pies? Titusville Market Square has you covered. Stop in to explore today. Titusville Market Square in downtown Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
U.S. stocks ended mixed on Monday as the Dow dipped fractionally. The S&P 500, while essentially flat, marked its sixth straight record close, and the Nasdaq gained 0.33% to also close at a record high. Trading was choppy on Wall Street as investors digested President Donald Trump's trade deal with the European Union, which includes a 15% import tariff on most EU goods, half of Trump's previously threatened rate of 30%. Marianne Bartels, chief investment strategist at Sanctuary Wealth, said that while markets have mostly put the tariff turmoil behind them, stocks could pull back before they climb even higher.
Markets are extremely overbought. We're coming down to the month at the end of July. July seasonally is very strong. Believe it or not, August is when markets peak. I think we're setting up for a correction within the markets. Nothing significant, but we could easily get a 5 to 10% pullback, refresh this market, particularly in the seasonal period of September and October for a year-end rally.
Among individual movers, shares of Nike climbed nearly 4% after J.P. Morgan upgraded the stock to overweight from neutral and said investors should, quote, just buy it. U.S.-listed shares of Heineken fell nearly 10% as a forecast-beating profit rise was eclipsed by investor worries over second-half profits and volumes, which Heineken warned may be softer due to tariffs. And shares of Cadence Design Systems climbed more than 6% in extended trading after the chip design software provider raised its sales forecast for the year. The week is packed with potentially market-moving events, including the Federal Reserve's latest policy decision and the Personal Consumption Expenditures Report, the Fed's preferred gauge of inflation. And set to be released on Friday is the closely watched jobs report for July. Also on deck this week are a slew of corporate earnings, including from tech giants Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple.
Tech, talking tech. It's the latest tech news and information with Joe Tech. He's talking tech. Now here's Joe Tech, and he's on the morning drill.
Yes, he is on the morning drill. Joe Tech. Will check in with us here. Hi, Joe. Okay. How's it going? I don't know.
Something like that. I'm good. There, I've checked in.
All right. Well, have a good one. Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah, how you been?
I've been. How about you?
About the same, yes.
Yeah, running around. People, well, I guess I shouldn't say that. This is going to be a dumb comment. I was going to say people think summer maybe slows down a little bit, but not really.
No, not in my experience.
Yeah,
no.
We both have very active kids who participate in a lot of things, and
yep. Yeah, we like Amy said on the previous segment. The mandatory practices are starting up soon, so we're kind of getting in our last. We kind of have a week break, except for we have a baseball tournament this weekend, so we've got that going on. So yeah, still a lot going on this summer.
Do you think most travel coaches understand that the high school season now is coming into play, and they have to respect that, or it's like there's like a clashing here of
the coaches that I've been involved with understand and encourage kids to play multiple sports. So they understand that, when school sports come up, and yes, it's important to do those things. And, for a time, travel ball becomes secondary, and the coaches that I've dealt with, they're very understanding about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I remember when we were going through high school, it was just, when you were playing a sport in high school, that's the sport you played. I don't mean like throughout the year. I mean, like take fall, for example. If you played football, you weren't allowed to do fall baseball.
Right.
You're in football.
Yes.
Now it's like, well, we need the kids. If they want to do both.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm still not used to that.
I don't even remember there being fall baseball when we were a kid. And I'm sure there was, but I was oblivious. But now it's like every sport you play, there's club teams, there's travel teams.
Yes.
Whether it's soccer. I mean, I don't know that there's so much for football, but there's trainings, there's 7-on-7 camps, there's quarterback camps, big man camps. There's any sport you want to play, you can do it all year round if you want.
Well, I think the other part of that too, Joe, is maybe that happened in big cities, maybe Pittsburgh, Erie, with the club stuff. Yeah. But parents are so open to taking their kids an hour or 2 hours to, a facility.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal anymore.
Yep.
So to be thinking about a certain sport year round while playing other sports.
Yeah.
Hey, if they're maintaining their grades and things are great, fine.
Right. And it keeps them off their phones and off the devices for a little bit more, and builds up confidence in them. That's great. Yeah.
Well, speaking of phones and devices and tech, what's been going on this week?
A little bit of a follow-up story to last week. We talked about ways to not use AI.
Yeah.
One of those was not to use it for mental health. For helping you, you don't want AI to become your therapist. So as a follow-up, Sam Altman was on the Theo Vaughn podcast, and he basically reiterated what we said. Actually, there were 2 points that we made. One was the mental health one. The other one was the lack of privacy or security over your sensitive data. And so he warned on the Theo Vaughn podcast about using AI as your therapist, because legally there's no legal confidentiality. So if you are using AI as a therapist and telling it private, intimate details, there's no guarantee that there's going to be privacy. Whereas if you talk to a therapist, that is, there's doctor-patient confidentiality. So they can't release some of those, details that you discuss with them. So there's just another reason to be cautious when you're using AI. Just don't give it anything that's too sensitive and as far as information or data. You can get into a text chat with these things, and it kind of sounds like a normal human being, and you might get lulled into a sense of security, but please don't, because it is not secure, and there's no legal guarantee to confidentiality.
And this stuff, it saves somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like ChatGPT, I was asking it something this morning. It gives you the answer, the prompt, right?
Yeah.
and then it asks you, let me know if you need me to change it. I mean, it's like very casual. Like, hey, I can fix this. Do you want it to do this or do you want to do that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very casual and sounds like if you spend some time with it and like, if you get into a deep chat session and doing stuff, it's like it almost seems, you can be lulled into a sense of, oh, this is just a person. Like, no, this is not. This is just a computer program.
So, end of last week, I got into really looking at structure for coding AI videos. And, if you think you just type in, we obviously this is coming off of the big thing that everybody's seeing, the Yeti blogging videos, right? So if you just type in, oh, that's really cool, and here's a fun, free AI generator, blogging Yeti leaves his tent and starts a campfire. It's not going to give you something great. Now, it's going to be, you might look at it and go, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, but it doesn't look like what I'm seeing on Facebook or social media. When you look at the prompts for those, wow, are they structured?
Yeah.
So, it's really in depth, and you can really create. And one of the things I was watching was a guy basically made an AI commercial and sold it to a company for like $100,000.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I mean, you can create some pretty neat things, but you got to spend a lot of time.
Right. Well, and like you've mentioned, you can actually use one AI to help you create a prompt that you put into another AI.
Correct.
Like, you help me write a prompt for this other AI to do this video and make it as detailed as possible. And you can get layers deep into it.
Yeah.
So here's one of the quotes from Sam Altman. People talk about the most personal, and they used an expletive, in their lives to ChatGPT, Altman said. People use it, young people especially use it, as a therapist, a life coach, having these relationship problems and asking, what should I do? And right now, if you talk to a therapist or a lawyer or a doctor about those problems, there's legal privilege for it. There's doctor-patient confidentiality. There's legal confidentiality, whatever. And we haven't figured that out yet when you talk to ChatGPT. So he flat out says it. People are using it, and there is not a legal framework for confidentiality.
Wow. So along those lines, here's a headline from USA Today. Trump's hands-off approach to AI may help America dominate for decades. And then, will AI become Big Brother? Tech government deals raise concerns.
Well, it's one of the things that I've been saying for a long time. And, during the Biden administration, I was concerned because they were talking a lot about it. And the concern is that when you put when the government gets involved, a lot of times they hinder advancement. The talk was just putting guide rails on. Okay, don't go over the cliff over here and don't run into the wall over here. But otherwise, full speed ahead.
Yeah.
And those pitfalls are, be careful with privacy, don't allow people to get ripped off. The kind of ideas of, protecting the end users and protecting people. And don't let it get too far in being sentient and taking over is, ultimately a concern. But again, we've talked about that. I don't think we're even close to that yet. But and to Biden's credit, his administration was looking at just putting guide rails up and not blocking development, but just kind of making sure that these companies aren't going crazy. But yeah, Trump has been very laissez-faire and just letting them go wild. Now, I think these companies are intelligent enough to kind of put their own guide rails up and not, they understand that we need to have control over this and not lose it. And at the same time, we can't harm our consumers or we're going to lose money. So we have to find that middle ground while still advancing forward.
Slightly reminiscent and I don't know if you ever caught the series on History Channel, The Men Who Build America.
Pieces of it, yeah.
I just found it fascinating and fantastic. Rockefeller, Carnegie, J.P. Morgan. And you look at our country at the time, and it just seemed like, listen, to a degree, it was on the expense of workers, where they weren't looking at the health and keeping everybody safe. But a lot of me sitting there going, this country was, we were gaining ground like crazy. The industrial stuff we were doing, the ideas that were being pumped out, and I'm like, there's nothing that can stop this.
Yeah.
And then the government steps in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then they force like Rockefeller break up big oil, right?
Right.
Now he ends up getting richer off of having to do that, but that's like, man, it just felt like the train was going at 100 and the government had to step in and say, slow up.
Yeah.
Again, did it hurt workers? Sure. Should we have looked at that? Sure.
Were there ways of protecting the workers while also continuing to...
Yes.
Yes, I think there was, yes. And, and I think eventually, OSHA comes along and those kind of workplace rules comes along, and that's kind of the idea of, just protect your workers.
And that stuff wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that stuff wouldn't happen. But you can still kind of continue developing at a pretty breakneck speed as long as you're protecting your workers, and that's kind of the guide rail idea,
Yeah. So it's funny because as you talk about this, it's like, how far will they let AI go before somebody steps in and says, okay, wow, this is, we gotta contain this.
Well, and like I've always said, government is usually behind industry, so will it be too late already anyway? So, yeah.
Would you say the internet itself was kind of like that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because
we're still dealing with issues that government hasn't quite sorted out. There's a lot in the news about age verification. For adult content online that anybody can get to. Realistically, if they know where to go, how do you deal with that while keeping privacy? The government doesn't know.
Yeah. And the whole, freedom of speech and, the individuality part of it. And it's almost like, free speech, but should you run into a theater and yell fire?
Right.
It's challenging.
Yes.
Let's do this real quick. You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Joe Tech with us here this morning.
Yeah, so the internet's been around for, 60 years? Now, from a practical standpoint, since the mid-90s, really. Yeah. Bong, bong, bong. Yeah.
You've got mail.
I was very excited to get a 56K modem.
Just remember all the CDs that would show up in your mail.
And then people would make
time.
things out of all the free CDs that you would end up with. Yes. Yeah. So, so since the mid-90s, which is a lot longer than I'd care to admit, but we're still, the government still doesn't have solutions to some of these problems on a wide scale. And, obviously the technology is changing as well and getting faster and, in some ways easier to hack, and then some ways we're close to getting better encryption. So there's always, a bit of a changing paradigm. But yeah, government hasn't figured out how to rein the internet in.
Here's something that's absolutely crazy. It's 1971. Ray Tomlinson sent the first email message between two computers. 1971.
Yeah.
So you think, 90s is when it really, yes, when it really
when consumers
accessible to everyone.
When consumers had the ability to do things, you had to build out somewhere for people to go. You had to build out the infrastructure of building web pages and having some interest for people to actually want to get online. That had to be built out and allow people to have computers that could access them readily. That had to get built out. So but I would say mid 90s was when it really took off.
Okay. So. 1997 we had the hamster dance. So we were going to that one.
Is that the official?
Yeah.
when you could really
just so
say
people could put some context. I remember going up to the school library. It was like, okay, yeah, this is like the only site we can check out. Hamster dance.
Yep. Oh, good times.
Yeah.
When the world was a simpler place. Before people started hacking you and stealing your info. And
probably didn't take long though once it got going for that.
It was very quick. Yes. Yeah, it didn't take long at all. And once people started putting their banking information online, that's what really pushed it, because people could steal that information and use it and exploit it.
Are those hackers using AI now to help them do that stuff, or are people using AI to help block and secure their stuff? A little bit of both.
I'm not a hacker. I assume they are. I don't know that answer for sure. But I would be surprised if they weren't using it. Just because, again, it makes things so much quicker and easier. So I'm sure that they're using it.
Can I bring up something cool in
Absolutely.
terms of AI? Just so, because you've been talking about some of the things you shouldn't be using AI for, right? I don't know if you saw this, but the big sphere in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
they're playing the Wizard of Oz.
Okay,
but they've digitally enhanced it so that it fits within the sphere. So there's like scenes where you only see maybe, I can't remember all the characters, but Uncle so and so walks into the scene and then walks out.
Yeah.
Well, in the sphere, obviously you would still.
He can keep walking.
So they did. They made the actor walk.
Wow.
And they extended all the scenes and stuff.
That's cool. But yeah, could they have done that before AI? Probably, but it would have taken an absolute ton of resources to do so.
Yeah.
Now you can just kind of use AI and have it help you out, and boy, that would be really cool to see.
That's what I said to Amy. I'm like, why don't we do that?
Just take a quick trip.
Yeah. Well, that would be.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
And I said, so where do you want to go before that? She's like, well, Italy, Ireland. I'm like, okay, but that's like a full. This would be like a quick thing. Go see.
Quick long weekend here. Yeah, you could do that. Oh, yeah, that would be really cool.
So AI can be used for good things.
Yes. Very much so.
But as you were saying, even people like Sam Altman, who's into this, are saying there are some things you should not be using this for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's saying you shouldn't use it, but you should be aware of those issues. And if you are perfectly okay with private data possibly being, available and saved somewhere else, that's fine. But you need to be aware that, you don't have, as much as he would like it, you don't have confidentiality.
Where are some spots that people around here are going to notice AI the most? Is it the stuff built into their phones now? Where they might not like it, but they're able to get information quickly?
That's probably where you're going to see it. I see it a lot in the, if you search for something on Google, they'll give you the AI answer. So instead of just showing you the links, it'll kind of summarize what you're kind of asking and kind of give you the answer instead, so you don't have to click on a link and search for yourself and find the answer.
Okay.
So that's one real simple one. Where else? There was actually a story about if you rent a car from Hertz. If anybody that's rented a car knows, you walk around and look and see if there's any damage, and you take note of it before you pick up the vehicle, and then afterwards you do the same thing and make sure you didn't damage the vehicle. Well, they were using AI, drive it through these scanners, and it would scan the vehicle and it would automatically tell you whether there was new damage. Well, it was coming up with phantom damage. Ooh. And people, again, the biggest issue was people didn't have any recourse, or the recourse was, oh, you've got to call customer service. We can't help you here at the counter. It's like, well, go look at the car. There's nothing wrong with the car. You have eyeballs. Go look at it. But they couldn't do that. So, again, they were relying a little too much on just the AI and not a human to verify, and or if they're, use it until there's a question, and then okay, just go around and look. Okay, the car is fine. It must have been a phantom thing, a weird reflection or something. So there are places around that you'll see it being used. I don't think any of the local, those are first used in larger cities, but that kind of stuff is out there.
Joe, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too.
All right, all the best.
Now here's Joe Tech, and he's on the morning drill. Now here's Joe Tech, and he's out.
A gunman opened fire inside a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper on Monday, killing 4 people before fatally shooting himself. That's according to New York City officials, who said the victims included 3 civilians, as well as 36-year-old New York Police Department officer Didarul Islam, who had been on the force for 3.5 years. New York Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch said police had identified the suspect, who was believed to have acted alone, as 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Las Vegas.
According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamura has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why he targeted this particular location.
Tisch said surveillance video showed a man exiting a double-parked vehicle on Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Street carrying an M4 rifle. He then enters a skyscraper at 345 Park Avenue, and security camera footage from the building shows him shooting several people in the lobby, including the NYPD officer, before calling an elevator. Tisch said a woman then exited the elevator, and the shooter allowed her to pass unharmed. He then goes up to the 33rd floor, where he fires more rounds and kills another person, before shooting himself in the chest. A CNN report which cited officials said preliminary checks on the suspect's background did not show a significant criminal history. 345 Park Avenue houses offices of a number of financial institutions, including Blackstone and KPMG, along with the NFL headquarters.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Levin. Puppy Levin is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services, along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell-focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years' experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Rayan Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night's stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
U.S. stocks ended mixed on Monday as the Dow dipped fractionally. The S&P 500, while essentially flat, marked its sixth straight record close, and the Nasdaq gained 0.33% to also close at a record high. Trading was choppy on Wall Street as investors digested President Donald Trump's trade deal with the European Union, which includes a 15% import tariff on most EU goods, half of Trump's previously threatened rate of 30%. Marianne Bartels, chief investment strategist at Sanctuary Wealth, said that while markets have mostly put the tariff turmoil behind them, stocks could pull back before they climb even higher.
Markets are extremely overbought. We're coming down to the month at the end of July. July seasonally is very strong. Believe it or not, August is when markets peak. I think we're setting up for a correction within the markets. Nothing significant, but we could easily get a 5 to 10% pullback, refresh this market, particularly in the seasonal period of September and October for a year-end rally.
Among individual movers, shares of Nike climbed nearly 4% after J.P. Morgan upgraded the stock to overweight from neutral and said investors should, quote, just buy it. U.S.-listed shares of Heineken fell nearly 10% as a forecast-beating profit rise was eclipsed by investor worries over second-half profits and volumes, which Heineken warned may be softer due to tariffs. And shares of Cadence Design Systems climbed more than 6% in extended trading after the chip design software provider raised its sales forecast for the year. The week is packed with potentially market-moving events, including the Federal Reserve's latest policy decision and the Personal Consumption Expenditures Report, the Fed's preferred gauge of inflation. And set to be released on Friday is the closely watched jobs report for July. Also on deck this week are a slew of corporate earnings, including from tech giants Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple.
Well, a quick final look at that weather forecast here this morning. Sun and clouds mixed today, continued hot and humid, at least for a few more days, and temperatures in the low 90s. Few clouds tonight with the low in the mid 60s. Wednesday, partly cloudy, upper 80s. Thursday, showers and a high of 70, so relief there. We come into August on Friday with partly cloudy skies. Temperatures in the mid-70s, and Saturday sunshine and upper 70s. Meadville this morning at 73 degrees. Camber Springs, Edinburgh at 72. Titusville 71. Franklin this morning 72. Oil City 71 degrees here at 8:39. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Drew Myers is the new pastor at First Methodist Church in Titusville, and we welcome him this morning. Drew, good to see you this morning. Thanks for coming in.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, before we get into what's new and exciting at the church, let's learn about who you are. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Knox, Pennsylvania, so Clarion County, so not too far away from here. Mom still lives in the house I grew up in. Grew up very blue collar. Mom and Dad met in high school sweethearts, and both worked full time right out of high school for their whole adult lives, and grew up in a rural area. I went to Westminster College, which I know there's a lot of connections to this area from Westminster. Found that out when I started talking to folks, and went there for my undergrad, and that's where I got my call into ministry. And from there went to Pittsburgh Theological Seminary, which is downtown Pittsburgh in the East End, and did my 3 years, got my master's, was appointed to Natrona Heights, Pennsylvania, a small church just on the very northeast corner of Allegheny County, and was there the last 10 years and received the call from Titusville, did some interviewing back and forth, and felt the Holy Spirit pushing us to Titusville, so that's how we ended up here just a hair over a month ago, so still getting used to everything, but finding our way.
That's great. Back to growing up, what sort of hobbies did you have?
So I was always involved in athletics. I mean, I was always pretty athletic kid. Baseball, football, pretty much anything that came around. Not a soccer player, as you can probably tell by my build, but lifting and track and field, all those types of things. So I was always involved in a sport in some way. Heavily involved in my church. Grew up in a Knox UMC church, still my home church. Loved the people there very much, and they fostered my faith growing up. Heavily involved in our youth group. I was also involved in chorus and band and all the musicals in school, and so I had a lot of different interests. Was never really a big party kid. More likely to spend till 2 a.m. at my grandma's house playing cards with her and my cousins and things like that than those type of things. So it was more stuff up that alley, and went to Westminster and did track and field at Westminster as well. So kept with the athletic type of conversations, and nice. Always loved that type of stuff.
So at what point in your life did you know this was the direction you wanted to go, or did you have a couple things in mind of where you wanted to maybe head?
Yeah, so when I was young, I remember telling my parents that I was going to be a pastor when I grew up.
Oh, wow.
And they looked at me and said, doesn't work that way. And they said, you have to be called into this. And I just nodded my head and said, okay. At that point in time, I had no idea what that meant. And just said, oh, okay, and just went about my life. And after that, I went through a number of different things. When I went to Westminster, I was undeclared. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Had an inkling that I might go into psychology, become a psychologist. Took a 7:40 a.m. psych class and did well in it, but don't know if it was the time or day, but turned out psych wasn't for me. Thought I might go into engineering, and then played around with a number of different things. And finally, my sophomore year, I took a class on world religion and talked to the professor and said, this is the first thing I've studied that I really enjoy, learning about. And I said, what can I do with this? And he said, well, you can either get your doctorate and teach like I do, or you can basically just become a researcher and a writer for the rest of your life. And I said, well, don't want to do that, so I guess I'm going to become a professor. And started down that path, and then one day, God put it on my heart that I was supposed to be in the pulpit. And I always talk to folks about it. It's a long story how the call happened, but it was just like a light switch flipped. At that point, I knew that's where I was supposed to be going in life. And whether I wanted to or not wasn't part of it. That's what I was supposed to be doing. And came back and talked to my home pastor, and he affirmed my call. And after I started talking to folks about it, it seems a lot of people expected that, and they kind of knew. And it wasn't until my grandmother, who's now deceased, I told her, and I said, I'm going to become a pastor. That's what I'm called to do. And she goes, okay, I'm glad you finally figured it out. And I said, oh, so Mom told you? It's my mother's mother. And she said, no, I knew you had figured it out. And I said, well, how'd you know? She said, well, I saw a piece about you that I had never seen before and could tell you had finally figured out what you were supposed to do. And at that moment, I said, okay, this is obviously not just something that was a momentary, mountaintop experience. This is a real thing. So from there on, I followed the call, and that's what took me to, I asked my professor, should I go into Christian Ed? Should I change my major? It's world religion. And he said, nope, they're going to reteach you everything in seminary anyway, so why don't you get the broad spectrum on a bunch of other religions, then in seminary they'll hone you in on Christianity and go from there. So, yeah.
Wow. So you follow that path. I would imagine there were people along the way that kind of helped guide you or mold you. Who were some of those people?
Well, some of my Sunday school teachers growing up. Actually, I found Bruce Turk, one of my Sunday school teachers growing up, grew up in Titusville, went to Titusville. His best friend from school is part of the Methodist Church here, so I got to meet him. So that was kind of a cool connection, one of my Sunday school teachers. But there were a lot of folks in my home church that have been really, really supportive of me and continue to be really supportive of me in prayer and just words of encouragement as far as that goes. And honestly, my first appointment, my first 10 years, I was so green. I had no idea what I didn't know, that type of conversation. So a lot of folks in Center Church in Natrona Heights played a significant role in helping me to develop as a pastor, as a man of God. My wife and I weren't even engaged when I started there. And, so we became engaged, we became married, had both of our children while we were part of that congregation, all while I'm figuring out what does it even mean to be a pastor and a preacher and a teacher. So, those folks were deeply instrumental in being patient with me, quite honestly, as I made mistakes and figured things out and tried to understand my calling and where my strengths in ministry were, where I needed to work on those types of things. So, they were a big part of it. My mother and father, of course, have always been super supportive of my call and just continuing to foster that for me.
Have you heard from them where they say, maybe we were wrong, sorry?
Say that again?
Like you had mentioned that when you were young and you mentioned that you wanted to maybe go this direction, and they're like, no, I don't. Now, did they look back and laugh at that?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. And honestly, I'd forgotten about it. And it's something they reminded me of after I had received the call and things of that. They're like, do you remember doing that? Not really, because I was single digits. I wasn't, very old at that point in time. I just thought, that's something I could do. So, but they've been extremely supportive of the entire process, and they've learned that they grew up in the church. They've always been faithful persons, but to see on the kind of the other side of it, the leadership side, has been kind of fun for them too, just figuring it out and seeing how everything goes when you're the one behind the pulpit, not in the pews.
Yeah. So this opportunity comes up. What just something said, hey, I think this is something I want to pursue and come to Titusville, or did you do some research before you looked into it?
Yeah, so when I was in the United Methodist Church, I'm Global Methodist now, in the United Methodist Church, it's a heavy appointment system. So you have a little bit of conversation, you have a little bit of say. You can say no once or twice, but really it's, if you're going there, you're going there. The bishop, they tell you where you're going. And in the GMC, it's much more of an interview process, much more of a call type of. I think you're in the Presbyterian Church, right? So you have
I film there.
Okay, you film at the Presbyterian Church. Sorry, the Presbyterian Church, the Baptist Church. It's much more of a call, so it's more of an interview discernment process back and forth, and that can take some more time, or if the fit's right. When I came up to do the interview, I took the call not expecting to move. I took the call, and our presiding elder, who's kind of the overseer of my area, said, hey, I know you're not looking to move, but would you consider having this interview? And I came up here and I met with the folks, and I remember sitting and with one of the members, named Joe Gianti, asked me, okay, sounds like things are going well there. Why do you want to move? And he was sitting to my left. I remember turning, looking at him, saying, I don't. And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, I don't want to move. And my wife was with me and said, we have no plans to move. I said, we took this opportunity to interview with the church just to see if the Holy Spirit would move. I said, we don't have any plans to. We're just trying to listen and hear, is God doing something different and moving us in a new direction? And through that conversation and through prayer and talking with my wife Lindsay and with our family and friends, it just became apparent that this was what we should be doing, that my gifts for leadership, for preaching, for teaching, seemed to be what this church is yearning after. And we saw it as an opportunity that God seems to be, the way I could hear it and see it is that, the church it's there, the blocks are there, and they just kind of need that spark. And we felt like we could be part of igniting that spark of the Holy Spirit and helping the church take that next step, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So did you walk away from that meeting kind of intrigued, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we walked out, and it's a harder thing for my wife. Her job's based out of downtown Pittsburgh. It was really convenient for her where we were previously, and that was the only negatives that we had were personal things, were selfish things. We were happy with our relationships we had built in that area. We were happy with how local we were and how many things we had around us. Everything that told us no was selfish. And that became clear to us of, okay, if all the reasons we want to stay are just selfish reasons and not mission-led reasons and not ministry-led reasons, maybe we really need to consider this. And as we drove home, it was an hour and 20 minutes. No, it was 2 hours from there. We just talked about it and said, I really feel like this is what we should be doing. If they say yes, because the church could have said, no, we don't want, we don't think it's a right fit, and that's perfectly fine. Or we could say, no, we don't think it's a right fit. And it became pretty apparent in the interviews that they were excited about us potentially being there. That became pretty clear in the conversation. I said, well, it really surprised me if they don't say that they would like us there. And it just became apparent that all of the reasons we wouldn't have come here would have just been selfish reasons and comfortable reasons. And I had gotten very comfortable where I was, and in ministry, comfortability isn't necessarily the best thing. So it just became apparent in our conversations, our discernment, that all the reasons we wouldn't have come here wouldn't have been the right ones.
And I'm sure Joe Gianni was probably camped out in your yard, and you probably just wanted him gone. So, yeah, I get it. You're watching The Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Pastor Drew Myers with us here this morning from First Methodist Church in Titusville. And you said you've been here about a month now, and just going through after what you just said, how long does it take before you really start injecting your ideas and what you want to do into things? Are you still kind of feeling things out?
Yeah. So one of the dances that we have to do as clergy is to make sure we don't come in so heavy-handed right away, because all that does is just that makes people defensive.
Right.
Because you have somebody coming in and tell you did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this one. That's not a good way to start a relationship. That's not a good way to start a partnership. The best thing to do is to come in and just get a feel for the church first. Let's sit down. I've talked to a bunch of folks already. I've discerned my own places that where do we feel like we're doing well? So where can we build upon those? And where do we feel like we need to start over and build a little bit? And I try to hear that from the congregation first, because what you tend to find is the vast majority of people know those areas, and already in the conversations I've had with a couple dozen people, there's been a unification of where we feel like we're doing well and where we feel like we need to build. And that gives me an indication of, okay, where should I steer? And then there's some things that are blatantly obvious that need to be kind of repaired and need to be rebuilt from the clergy point. But if you come in too heavy-handed, if you come into, we got to do it my way, and this is how we're going to do things, all it does is it makes people defensive, and it doesn't build those relationships. So I'd rather listen, I'd rather hear where they feel, the Spirit is moving one direction or another, and then try to lead them through that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If you look back at the last several years or more, there's been story after story with, the decline of, church-going people. But I just read an article, just over the weekend, I think it was, saying that actually younger generations are now starting to come back.
Gen Z especially.
Yeah. So what are you seeing there, and are there opportunities?
Yeah, I think there's tremendous opportunities, something I've been excited about. I'm dead center of the millennial generation. So I'm dead center in the generation that heavily rejected, especially the institutional church. And, that's something that we've seen develop over the last 20, 30 years. We've seen this rejection heavily, not as much about rejecting faith as much as rejecting the institutional church.
Okay.
Because we still see that people are putting their faith and they're still having religious behaviors. You know, it's just they're going to a Steelers game and their religious behavior is the dress that they're wearing and here we go Steelers, here we go. They're doing those religious things. They're making chants and, you know, community behaviors. That's religious behavior. It's just pointing in a different direction. So we haven't seen those type of behaviors wane. It's just been pointed in a different direction. Maybe it's there, maybe it's celebrity worship, maybe it's band worship, whatever it might be. There's still that process. And it's been more of a rejection of the institutional church, I think. And part of that's justified. I mean, we've seen some terrible things that folks have done in the institutional church in the past couple of years. We've seen the sins that have come out. So to reject that, I get it in some ways. I really do. But it seems that Gen Z especially, the millennial generation, my millennial generation has gone so far in the having no lines. You know, we don't know where to draw the lines of what's societally beneficial, what's societally not beneficial. We've just kind of said, hey, you know, whatever. And Gen Z, as generations often seem to kind of react to one another, has said, well, we're not quite sure that we enjoyed being raised in an environment that's just anything goes.
Right.
And now they're trying to say, okay, no, we know there needs to be lines somewhere. So where should those lines be drawn? And how do we draw those lines? And if we're not drawing those lines based on revelation, not the book of, but godly revelation and scripture, where can we draw them? Who gets to draw them? Is it drawn just basically on societal laws that are constantly changing? And there's been a need for that structure, it seems. And the church is able to provide that healthy structure. Not a structure in which, no, you don't do that, but a structure in which you can say, hey, you have freedom to make these choices. It's your decision. What choice do you want to make? And there seems to be a yearning after that structure once again, and that community, that true community, it seems what people are striving after, where people truly love them, care about them, and will support them and help them in the process of growth.
I totally agree. Man, we could go back to, we could spend hours talking about just discipline and structure, and kids need that.
Yeah.
Adults need that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so, yeah. So before we wrap up, it sounds like you've got like, well, the whole world here. You know, you can go in a lot of directions.
Yeah.
Big plans over the next year, or again, is it just kind of listening? And
yeah. Everything's so new right now as far as that goes. The big things that we're trying to change, especially right now, are the spirit in worship. I am a very vibrant preacher. I have a gift for preaching. I have a gift for teaching. So the environment and the feel in our worship is already starting to change. You're already starting to see a much more conversational, much more interactive, that folks are excited to be in that worship space. The church is really cool because it offers two completely different styles of worship, and that's not super common in an area like this. They can offer something that's super contemporary with a lot of really vibrant praise music, a wonderful praise band at our 8:30 service, and then offer the organ at 11 o'clock. And I love both. I've always prided myself on being somebody who isn't fitting in a nice little box. You know, I talked about how athletic I was and in the sports, but I was also in all the musicals. How much I loved weightlifting and being outside, but I love playing board games and video games. And my worship's the same. I love super contemporary praise songs, but I also love hearing Amazing Grace belted on the organ. So that's a unique opportunity as well to share those two types of things. And we're looking at cultivating and developing stuff for kids a lot more. We're seeing a resurgence of those younger families coming back, and I think my leadership in that will help. You know, I have two young boys under 5 years old, so we're trying to develop a kids' Sunday school for the fall, and if we do, I'm going to lead a young adults Sunday school as well. So we might be doubling or tripling our number of Sunday schools come the fall. But really, we're just trying to build relationships. You know, the church, capital C church, has existed for a long time on what I and many have called, I didn't coin this, many have called the Field of Dreams model. And it worked for a while. You build it, they'll come. If you build the building, they're going to show up. And that's when the institutional church was still trusted. And you could do that. The church existed on that. But as we've talked about, There's been a rejection of that institutional church, and it's much more about building relationships. People want to know they have somebody they can trust. They want to know that they have somebody they can trust from the pulpit. They want to know they have somebody they can trust in their small group, in their Bible study, in their pew beside them. And we really need to focus on building those loving and accountable relationships around Christ. And then the church stuff follows, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, we live in an area where I think you're right. People need to see something to kind of understand it at times, and sounds like that's sort of part of the plan. And we wish you all the best. So tell us, you mentioned the times, but tell us again times that people can worship with you, and I guess look for things to come this fall.
Yeah, absolutely. 8:30 is our contemporary service. I have a full praise band. They're wonderfully gifted. Use their gifts for the glory of God.
Jerome.
Yeah, so they do a wonderful job at our 8:30 service, and that's our contemporary. 8:30 more laid back. We have Christian education in between. Like I said, starting up stuff for the kids during the fall season come September, as well as for young adults, hopefully. September, and then our 11 o'clock is our traditional service. It's organ music. It's much, I guess we'll just say traditional as far as that goes, but still energetic as far as the communication back and forth goes. And the congregation's pretty evenly split between those two, so a lot of opportunities. I know they have a number of different Bible studies going on at all times, as well as, we're just looking at having monthly community events. August comes up, we have Vacation Bible School that starts not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. Starts on the 10th, the 10th through the 14th. Can still register your kids. A wonderful opportunity there. We have an ice cream social, and I think it's in Burgess Park coming up at the end of the month. We're looking at September having some type of harvest type of event around maybe, soup and sandwiches type of event. Then we get into trunk or treat in October and, head into Advent. So we try to have one big community event, every month, just to try to build those relationships. And just keep watching our Facebook page for more things going on. And we're just going to be developing as we go. Like I said, it's only been a month, so we're building, and we're just going to keep building.
Pastor Drew Myers, good to see you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Take care.
it.